Welcome to A Well-Designed Business with your host, LuAnn. LuAnn has a lifetime of experience building a multi-million-dollar business with her husband and cousin, and she knows the challenges you face in your interior design business. LuAnn brings you real-life answers to your most pressing problems, as well as practical strategies to explode your interior design business. So, let's get to the business of interior design.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Power Talk Friday on A Well-Designed Business. Today on the show, I have Dorien Morin-van. Hi Dorien, how are you?
Good, I'm here. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, yes. So everybody, this is kind of timely for us because Dorien is a social media coach. She coaches small businesses on many areas of our social media businesses. But what she also does is that she focuses on the camera, on the video of it. So that's why I've invited her here today. But before I start our conversation, I'm just going to give you a little bit about her. She is the owner of the social media business called Morin Media. She's located in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And as I said, she helps small businesses with their social media strategy, planning, and the execution of their social media strategy. Dorien is a coach and a trainer, and she concentrates on video marketing and social media management. Her most favorite things to do are to blog, teach, speak, and everything social media, right? She also, by the way, wait till you hold on to your seat for this one. She manages a household with 4 teens and 3 dogs, and she runs marathons, and she is a vegan. So honestly, I'm exhausted thinking about your day, just right off the bat. So Dorien, thank you so much for being on the show today. And it's very timely for us and for my buddies out there because we have in our Facebook groups, Rachel and Dixie are running a visibility challenge. We are constantly in every which way talking to each other on all of our different connections and platforms about being more visible and about doing more video. And you are, among all the things that you help and you coach small businesses to do, one of the things that you actually do is you help and coach us on getting over the fear of being on camera. So I think that's pretty interesting because we've had a couple of discussions on the show about the technical, about how to do it, on what to do and what the content is, but not a lot of discussion about, getting over that fear. And so this is sort of timely, and I'm so happy that you're here to talk to us about this.
Thanks. I found by experience that when I started talking video to my clients, when I was talking, when making a plan for their social media content, that a lot of them agreed, yes, video is important. But then they would look to me and go, Dorien, can you be in my video? And I was like, no.
Well, that's not going to work, sweetie.
No. So kind of started working with them and gave them some actionable ways of getting over fear, because it's a fear of the camera, but there's different aspects to that fear. And so, working through each of those fears and then giving them tips on how to get started with video on a very, easy way to do it. I've had quite a bit of success with my clients, and it's kind of a fun process to see people go from, I don't ever want to be on video to, hey, I did a video. You want to see it. It's pretty exciting. Yes.
To watch them almost butterfly, right? But butterfly out, right?
Yes.
Very cool. So how is it that, are you a person that it came natural to you, that you just are, you understand and have compassion for your clients that it doesn't come natural to, but are you a natural, or did you have to go through something to get over it yourself? Like, what's your story about that? Anything there?
Well, I don't have a fear of the camera.
Okay.
I certainly, I have been in front of people and also speaking, and, I used to be in a choir and singing. So to me, a lot of that came natural, but I do have another extreme fear, and trying to get past that fear has helped me understand and have empathy for those who have fear of the camera. I'm an acrophobe. I have an extreme fear of heights. And, it all came to a head head. It was actually funny this morning on Facebook. There was a reminder that it's exactly 7 years ago that we were in Costa Rica as a family with our children. And my two boys at that time, my two oldest boys were 11 and 13, and they wanted to go zip lining. And my husband kind of looked at me and laughed because
forget it.
Yeah, he knows how scared I am. Yet, by the time the 5-year-old piped up and said, I want to go too, and my daughter, who was 9, said, I want to go, it was not going to be a no. It was going to be, if we're going to do it, we're all going to do it. Well, long story short, we go zip lining. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was initially. We're kind of in the canopy. It's all green around me. But we get to the last line, and it's over a kilometer long. It's from the top of a rock over a valley, and my kids all just went. There was a group of 25. They went. My husband went. They all went, and I'm left with 2 guides. Oh. And this is where the epiphany came. I asked them, I said, how far is it to walk back? Oh. And they looked at me, and then one of them said to me in broken English, are you the mom? And I kind of looked at him, and I said, well, why? He goes, are you the mom of those 4 kids? They're really blonde, obviously they're mine. And I said, yes. And he said, you need to go to the other side because they're waiting for you. And that was kind of my moment of clarity. It was not about my fear. It was not about what I needed. It was about what the expectations that they had. So I use this when I talk to my coaching clients, about their prospective clients, the people that are working with. This is not about your fear of the camera. This is about them needing to see you and hear you on video. And if you turn it around, instead of focusing on, oh, I'm afraid, or I don't want to be in front of the camera, or how am I going to look? Instead, you turn it around and say, this is an opportunity for new people to discover me and my talents and my business. And they need me because I can help them with their problems. That turns that whole perspective around. And I think that was my epiphany. And that's what I use when I work with people, coaching them on how to get ready to be in front of the camera.
That's pretty interesting. Honestly, in that moment, I know exactly how you felt in that moment. And I also know exactly how you felt when he said that to you. It's like, right, those are my kids. I can't stay over here when they're over there. It's like, right. I have to be with my kids.
Yeah, even though I was ready to go walk back.
Right, it's like, the heck with those kids.
Right, and here's the funny part. When I came, they call it fly-in. When I came flying in, my kids were standing there. They had a big smile on my face. Their question was not to me, how did you do that? But they were like, what was it like? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Yes. They asked me, what did you see, Mom? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't about, weren't you scared? That whole fear left me as I was flying over that valley. It was all about the experience. And so my clients don't want to know whether I'm scared to be in front of the camera. They want to know about my product, about my services, about who I am, how I conduct my business. So that really is another great thing. And so when you're faced with this, instead of, when you think about fear, instead of forgetting everything and running, so forget everything and run, you need to go face everything and rise to that occasion. So that's kind of an acronym for fear. And it's always your choice. Are you going to forget it and run, or are you going to face it and rise? So that's another little acronym that I use to get people to understand that it's a choice that you're making. Yes, it's going to be scary right here, right now, but the opportunity is big. It's great.
Well, and talk to us about that opportunity, because, of course, as I described, there is tremendous buzz in our private Facebook groups and just everywhere, anywhere you pay attention, about the rise of video and how important it's going to be to our businesses and so forth. And I think that right now, of course, you always have the early adopters. You always have the people that get it, understand it, and run right, like you said, to it, and realize that this is the next thing as small business owners that we have to embrace. But then I think you always have that layer of people that are sort of like, well, everybody can do that. I don't need to be the one to do it. So what would you say? What is happening that you're aware of in your research and in your business and your expertise that might be the convincer or the justification of all of us needing to continue this conversation and getting over it and doing it? What's happening in social media now that is so compelling, that makes video, you just got to do it?
Okay, well, there's several different things. Last year, 2016, we called within the social media industry, we called that the year of the video. This year is the year of the live video. If we're looking ahead, it's going to be artificial intelligence. It's going to be virtual reality. And in order to be, on top of virtual reality, you have to be on video. There's going to be an app coming out from Facebook. They announced it. I don't know when it's coming, but eventually you'll be able to go in an app kind of like Facebook Messenger, where you go into a meeting with 20 people and it's virtual reality and you sit around a table having a discussion. You can have a meeting. Just put on your glasses and there you are in the meeting and you can see the people and talk to them. And that's what's coming. If you're afraid to be on the camera, it's insane. It is. But that's what's coming. So going back to video, there's a lot of different types of video that can make that don't include you as a business owner, or you, say an interior designer. You can make product reviews. You can do tutorials. You can get testimonials from other people. You can do event highlights where you put the camera on other people. It doesn't have to be necessarily you. However, for branding purposes and for connecting and networking purposes, it has to be you. People do business with people they know, like, and trust and have a personal connection with. And the quickest way to do that, if it's not in person, is through video. If you put videos out there and then people meet you in person, they're going to have that warm, fuzzy feeling. They feel like they already know you. Right. And you can do that by branding yourself on video and doing that right, and sending it everywhere, wherever you are on social media, would it be Facebook or Facebook groups or your Facebook page or, Pinterest or Instagram. But when people see these videos, they feel like they get to know you. But for the branding and the connection part, that's important. Now, on social media and on the platforms, they want you to do video. Right now, Facebook is pushing Facebook Live tremendously. I don't know, for those who are listening, if you've ever done any kind of research, or if you look at your analytics from when you post a link to an article, whether you post a picture or you post up a video, the reach is going to be very different. And right now, I can tell you the reach for a video is much, much greater than the reach of a picture or the reach of a text link. So they really are pushing that out. And then live video is even better. If you have a recorded video and you natively upload it to Facebook, it does pretty well. If you have a live video, Facebook is going to say, oh, this is great. You're an early adopter. We're going to send you some extra people. And the organic juice you get, the organic reach you get from going Facebook Live, is something that Facebook is really pushing. The prediction within my industry is that within 6 months, you're going to have to pay for that reach. Right now, Facebook says, you're going live, we're going to tell everybody about it. In about 6 months, they're going to say, you're going Facebook Live, pay us some money, pay us to boost it. But right now, you're going to be able to reach quite a few people. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm seeing within our industry. There's going to be a lot of new things coming out. Facebook is going to come out with another special app that has to do with video. I think it's called Video Developers, and it's right now, when they're going to first bring it out, it's going to be for people who have a verified account. So people that, are celebrities and, big brand names, but eventually, hopefully that will be rolled out to everybody, but that will help you get your videos, edited within Facebook and all those things. So they're really, really pushing video. Of course, Facebook owns Instagram. You can go live on Instagram. You can do Instagram stories. A lot of this stuff is all about video. Right. And all these platforms are wanting to get in on it. So if you're not doing it, you're missing that part, and your peers might be doing it. Not everybody, but those who are doing it are getting great results, because right now this is really new.
Okay. So then, so now let's say that we are all listening and we're like, okay, we believe you. We have to do this. What do you say to the people that, because look, I don't have a fear of the camera either. I'm like you, but and we're not going to talk about it, but I'll just share. For me, it's more like, what the heck am I going to say? Okay. But let's put that aside. Let's actually talk about the people who do have a fear of the camera, that are so, like, I'm self-conscious about what the content is, that I'm thinking, who the heck wants to hear this? I'm not self-conscious about being on camera, but I've learned through the Facebook group and through my conversations with people that is sometimes the number one barrier for many of the designers that are listening to the show. Forget if they have a list of content that they think is stellar, the fear of actually just putting themselves out there in such a public way. So let's do that. Talk about that, because that is one of your fortes, to help people through that. What kinds of things do you do, Dorien, that you help people through that process?
Okay, well, I think the biggest thing that we can do is identify what fear you have and then turn it around. So,
Okay.
For example, I have a lot of people come to me and say, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. That's the F in fear, fail of doing video. And here's my answer. Don't think of it that you're going to fail. I've never, ever seen anybody fail on video. I've seen them fail to start video. I've seen them fail at not posting the video, but I've never seen somebody who's actually on a video fail. That doesn't happen. So replace that fear of I'm not going to be able to do it right, to replace it with the thought of this is an opportunity to meet people and reach people that are not in my immediate circle of friends online. They're not in my community online yet. So when I make a video, it reaches beyond that first circle. Think about it when you throw a rock in a lake and there's a circle and then the second circle and the second circle. You want to reach a second, third, fourth, fifth circle. And it's going to be a lot easier to do that with some great, funny, or educational videos, whichever way you want to go. Okay. So forget failure. That's not going to happen. If you record a video and you upload it, you're going to have positive results. So replace it with an opportunity to reach people that you normally don't see.
Okay, the time out, though, before you go on. Because I have to say, if it's one thing to say that to somebody, and I it's not lost on me. Failing to put it out there, failing to record it is a bigger failure. Okay, it's not lost on me. But I know there are somebody sitting there saying, no, I could fail on video. I could stumble over my words. I could, I could look like a fool. I could not really say anything cohesively. I mean, or am I jumping the gun to your other parts of the conversation?
Yes,
okay. You are,
but that's okay. That's okay, because that is definitely what's going to come up next.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, yes, you can fail.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I would never say to somebody, here's a camera, go record yourself, and in 10 minutes I need to have a video. There definitely is a process for that.
Okay, good. Okay, so you're going to help us with that.
I'm going to help you with the process, but I want you to understand that if you go through the process, then there's now going to be a failure. Then it's going to be, you're going to actually make one. So that second part of that is, and I hear this all the time, making videos and creating videos is expensive.
Okay.
And so replace that thought with, there are low cost options. If you're going to, if we were in a room together, I always ask people, get your smartphone out, hold it up. Everybody has a camera. Your smartphone has a camera, start with that. That's a low cost option. The second thing is that people go, well, I'm afraid I don't have any editing software. Well, again, I'm going to teach you, and that's what I do, is to do it in one take. I take editing out of the equation. Okay. I'm not going to tell people you're going to learn how to edit, you're going to have to use this software. No, we're going to record a video on your smartphone. It's going to be really easy. It's going to be 30 seconds to 60 seconds. That's going to be your first video that you make, and you're going to record it until it's right. No editing necessary. Right. And that's going to, so once you do those steps, then you realize that it's not that hard, and you can move into editing, and you can move into, bigger cameras and microphones and all that stuff. But there are low cost options, which means it's zero if you use your smartphone. Right. That's zero. So the next one would be appearance. And that's where you come in. Like, I'm going to look weird. I'm going to sound weird. I don't know. What are people going to think about me? So fear of appearance is a big one. Well, And I ask people, do you have a fear of appearance when you go into a meeting and you're going to think people are going to look at me weird?
Right.
Or no, I mean, really, when you meet somebody, you think about what you're going to share with that person. When you have a one-on-one meeting in a restaurant or, at a place of business, your thoughts most likely aren't going to be with, how am I going to look to that person? You're going to take out your mirror, you make sure you have no spinach in your teeth, you put on lipstick, and you go in and you forget your appearance.
Right.
That's what you have to do. So replace the fear of appearance with love your brand. If you love and know, and you're an expert in your industry, and you love what you do, and you can talk about it, you can share your expertise, that's all you need. Then you don't need to worry about how you look on camera, because that glow, that enthusiasm will show through in those videos. So that we'll take that off the table. The last thing is, and this is the one that I hear the most, is people are afraid that they are going to lose respect or that their reputation is going to be harmed if they go make these videos and post them on Facebook. I hear this all the time. My family thinks I'm silly.
Right.
What are they going to say? So when people say that to me, I said, well, the first video you're going to make is going to be one where you're going to say that. Hey guys, this is my first video. I am so excited, and I'm hoping that you're going to give me thumbs up on this video. I'm going to give you one tip, and this is it. And then, you give your tip and then say, please give me some positive feedback on my video. I want to keep going with this. I want to share the love for interior design with all my friends. If you do that, there's not a single person in the world that's going to be ugly to you.
Right.
Be a little bit vulnerable. So replace that thought of lack of respect or lack of reputation or loss of reputation with you're going to become an influencer. The things that you say and do on video are going to influence people. They're going to either buy something, go to a website, go look something up, maybe look at a house differently because you've given them tips on interior design. So think about, instead of that, people are going to make fun of me, whatever, you're building up your influence. It's a very positive thing.
Well, it's pretty compelling, the things that you say, because you do break it down and you do exactly as you said, you flip it on its head. It's about getting out of your own head, actually. And really what you're describing is concentrate on the value that you bring and what you can do and help and serve the potential clients out there. And your point is well made. We all go into a first meeting with a client every day of the week. And like you said, other than checking to make sure that the buttons are buttoned and the hair is combed and everything else, we're not standing there going, I can't walk into their house. I can't possibly. They'll think I'm this.
Yeah.
But it does feel different
that
on video, right? It does. Although I have to say, I have learned over the last couple of months in all of the conversations that I have with interior designers and off air, I'm talking about in the different chats and the different mediums, I guess I should say, is that it is remarkable to me how many interior designers are introverts. And I would say, in the different conversations that I've been privileged to be a part of in the different ways, whether it's a Facebook group or it's an Instagram, message or whatever it is, it's remarkable, because I would tell you that the highest percentage seem to be introverts. And yet these are men and women that every day are facing new prospects and new people that they have to win over and earn their respect and earn their trust. But they are consistently working and pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. And it's really, frankly, pretty heroic, I have to say. And it's been an eye-opener for me because, again, as I said and you said, that's not the thing that we struggle with. And so I love the tips and I think they're valid, but I do know that for someone who is an introvert and struggles with these things, the face-to-face meeting does ultimately have a less of a barrier than that video camera, I have to say.
Sure. And I agree with that. So then we can get into, well, how do you practice? Because that's what all it comes down to.
Okay.
The more you do something, the less scary it is. After that zip lining that I did in 2010, I have gone on several more zip lining adventures. I climb every tower in every city that I visit. I've been in Toronto and climbed that big Sears Tower, I think it is. I go everywhere. And even though I am scared, and those who are afraid of heights will know this feeling, I stand with my back to the wall and I look straight out. I can't look down. I went to Boston at Christmas time, and I climbed the Prudential Tower, and it's a 360 view of, the whole city. And I'm the one who holds the wall as I walk. But I do it because
it looks good out there, I'm sure. I'll take your word for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what you need to do is put yourself in a situation where you're going to get over that. And with video, the more you watch yourself on video, the more you get over yourself. Okay. And I'll jump the gun a little bit. And this is what I tell my clients to do. Those who are completely afraid of the camera and being in front of the camera. And this is the number one tip. You go in your office, you close the door, you lock it, you get out your smartphone, you stabilize your smartphone. Don't hold it because you want your arms free. So you put it against a stack of books. Maybe you have a little tripod, a little, stand, whatever it is. But you stabilize your smartphone, and you're going to have a little script. It's 30 to 60 seconds. It's going to introduce yourself, what you do, maybe one tip, and then you're going to close it. Well, thank you for watching. And, make sure you watch my next video with tip number 2, something like that. You write up a little script with little bullets, and you're going to practice that. And what I tell my clients to do in 1 hour, you're going to record this 30 times.
Okay.
And what you do is you record yourself, you watch yourself, you delete it. You record yourself, you watch yourself, and you delete it. And I will know if you've not done it 30 times, because 3 things will happen. and it really does happen. The first thing that happens is you're going to understand how your smartphone works. Okay. There's button, how you reach over and you start and stop. Maybe you can buy a remote. You can use your headset as a remote. You're going to figure out that maybe you need to turn your volume on because maybe you had it on mute the first time. You're going to realize that the light was wrong or the angle was wrong. So you're going to learn exactly how your smartphone works when you record, watch, and delete 30 videos. That's number 1. Step number 2, you're going to get completely over yourself. Okay, watching yourself 30 times on video, doing the same video over and over, and maybe finally getting to one that is like, okay, this I could post, is a process. But just like, when you see this picture of yourself that you're not used to seeing, and you might cringe, when somebody else takes a picture of you, the more you see it, you're like, oh, it's
whatever.
All right. Well, yeah.
It's what I look like.
That's what's going to happen when you watch yourself back 30 times, right? You're going to see yourself. The third thing, which is really important, is that you're going to realize the most important thing about video marketing is it's better to get it done than not have a video. Because in the end, not one single video is going to be perfect, and certainly not without editing, but it's good enough. Right. And those are 3 very important things that you have to do in order to get started. So you've got to practice a lot. You've got to get over yourself, watching yourself, and you got to realize that there's no such thing as a perfect video, as you being perfect on camera. There might be a hand gesture that, you're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Or you might push your glasses back on your nose, or, you might hear a little background noise or whatever. But at some point you got to say, this is good enough.
Right. And
that point will come. So that's really the essence of it. And if you're willing to sit there and do this, it might take you 30 minutes, but most likely it's going to take you an hour to record it that many times.
Right.
You're really going to get the feel for that and what it will look like.
I love that tip because I think that has been missing from the conversation with everybody, whether it's been on the podcast or in the different Facebook groups or social media groups, is it's because we are all just like, just do it, just do it, just do it. But for somebody who really struggles with being on camera and really putting themselves out there, that is just genius to just do it for yourself, but do it for yourself 30 times in one sitting. Because I can picture it. I mean, I did the keynote at IWCE in Charlotte this past March, Doreen, and the way I learn a speech, this was an hour-long keynote speech, is I just say this speech over and over and over, and I have to walk when I'm doing it, and I have to really walk outside when I'm doing it, and so I just go for walk after walk after walk, and by the time I've said it 10, 15, 18, 20 times, it's part of me. I'm like, okay, I got this. Just put the lights on. Let's go. You know what I mean? And so I'm relating. The reason I share that story with my friends out there is because I'm relating that experience. I wasn't nervous to be on stage, but I didn't want to have a single moment where I wasn't 100% confident. And in order to get that confidence, I did it over and over and over again. And so, your suggestion is golden. And it's the first time I've ever heard anybody use this suggestion in conjunction with trying to push everybody out of their comfort zone doing Facebook Live. Is okay. Do it non-Facebook Live. Just do it in your room and say your same tip over and over again 30 times. I love it. It's so actionable and it's so easy to do. And I would venture to say, and you probably know from the proof of working with your clients, is that even the most fearful person after 30 times has got to reach a point of, that really wasn't that bad that last time.
Exactly. Right? Yes, exactly. And I also tell them, I'll know if you've only done it 3 times.
Yes, because I can still see the nervousness in you.
Yeah. So to go in on that, there's an extra tip that I have. If you want to practice going live on Facebook, but you don't want anybody to see you, because the whole key to this is that you get to practice without having an audience.
Right. And it does make a difference when there's an audience, right?
A huge difference. There is, when you go Facebook Live, if you've ever done one or if you're thinking about doing one, when you go and to your phone and you engage a Facebook app, you can set it to go to public, or you can also set it to only me. And this is a really good tip. If you want to practice Facebook Live, what it looks like, to count down 3, 2, 1, and then, there's you on camera and you're talking looking at yourself, you can set it to only me. And you can go live on Facebook, but nobody can see it. And you get to practice it right on Facebook. Then when you're done, you can turn it off and you can watch it back. You can delete it. If you liked it, you can post it. But that's another great way you get to practice Facebook Live without an audience right there on Facebook. Just make sure the setting is to only you, only me. That's what it's called.
Okay, I like that, because that is a second hurdle. Definitely with a huge fear of doing this, the 30 times in your own office with the door closed and delete and do is awesome, because it gets you comfortable with what you're saying. What's the first thing that comes out of my mouth, and what do I end with? And did I remember my call to action? Like all that nonsense. But then it is that transition to okay live. It's sort of like, whoops, okay, wait a minute, did I just do this 30 times? I don't even remember it, right? But so the thing only, and which is good. So I like that. The pressure of the camera, but the safety of not having to publish it. However, I'd like to clarify something. So if you do it that way, and then you post it afterwards, say somebody does it and they're like, not bad, I'm pretty good. Okay, let me hit publish. Now, in that particular video, there is no opportunity for people to engage with you in real time. It's
right.
Okay. But these are baby steps, and that's what I like, is like, you're right. So now maybe the first 2 or 3 you really just feel like you have to listen into it and watch it yourself and then push it post. But then maybe by the 3rd or 4th time, you're like, I got this. Okay. And then you're happy to go live in real time.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I love it. I love it a lot. So now, are there other things that we should talk about in the fear of doing it and overcoming it? Or should we maybe talk about some creative things that maybe they would think about? Because now we have to have some content. Now, this isn't necessarily a show focused on content, but I'm sure you probably have tips in that regard. Or we still have more tips on getting over
I think there's a few more tips of getting over the fear. So if you're worried about how you're going to do this, use the tools you already have. That's what I tell people. I ask them, do you have a selfie stick? You can use a selfie stick to record a video. It's a very easy tool to hold it up, and instead of taking a picture, you can take a video when you're outside. So that's a good one. The next tip I would have is pick one type of video and master that before moving on. Earlier, I said, you can do testimonials, you can do interviews, you can do events, whatever it is. But whenever you're getting ready to create these videos, do at least 5 of one kind.
Okay.
So do 5 testimonials, because say you're going to do that with clients. Make 5 appointments and have that little script ready and say, hey, my name is Dorien Morin. I'm here with a happy client. It's so-and-so from so-and-so. Can you tell me a little bit about, what you liked about the process of working with me? You're interviewing them, and then you say, thank you for watching, or thank you for the testimonial. You do 5 of those. You get comfortable with the concept, with the script, with the type of video, and master that, the interview before you go to the next type of video.
Okay. So concentrate your efforts, and almost like me running, doing the speech 90 times, get it down and then move to the next type of thing, right?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So here's another tip that makes it a little bit easier. It's a time-saving tip, but it's also, again, to get comfortable. When you do several videos in a series, so for example, and I use this a lot, where I say 5 ways to, and I'll use for my own, in my own industry, 5 ways to upload a blog post. And I'm going to put them in 5 segments, 5 videos. Tip number 1. So I'd be like, hey, this is Dorien Morin. I'm going to give you 5 tips. Today's tip number 1. Okay. And, I do the tip. I turn off the video. I go to my closet. I change my top. I change my earrings. And I go record video number 2. Hey, this is Dorien Morin with tip number 2. This is in a series of 5. The first tip was this. Make sure you watch the video of the first tip, and this is tip number 2. And next week I'll release tip number 3. You stop the recording, you go to your closet, put on a different top, put on different earrings. Because especially for women, for me, the biggest thing, I work from home. Right. I don't always put on my makeup or do my hair,
Exactly.
Get everything ready, stage my office, clean my office. But if you do them all in one day, it saves a lot of work, and it saves that anxiety. And here's the best tip of all. When you get your hair done, get your appointment early in the morning and block a couple of hours in the afternoon for a bunch of videos, because your hair looks good and you have more confidence when you look good. Right. So my hair appointment days are usually video recording days.
And so this works if you are, where are we utilizing these videos then? Because these are not Facebook Live. Are we just uploading it to Facebook and uploading it to our websites? What are we doing with these?
YouTube, those would be YouTube videos. Those would be videos to put on your website. Those would be videos to put on Facebook. Yes, of course, you can also go live when you have your hair pretty. But if you're doing a series and you want to get the series out, why would you could do them live, but I think live would be better suited for a show where you either interview somebody or talk about a topic. But when you do the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when you do a series, I think recorded videos are better fit for that. Okay.
I love it. I love it a lot. I think it's awesome because it is true. And what happens is you get on a roll and you sort of, build your confidence. And I also know, even just from the podcast and the different continuity of things, if you do the 5 tips all one after another, you're not repeating yourself. You're not saying, because if you do it once a week, you're like, what did I say last week? And I said this, and then somebody watching is like, what are you doing?
Right, exactly. It makes it a little bit easier when you do them all at once. And then I did a series last spring, and it was going to be 6 videos. I did them all in one afternoon. And then not only did I download them off my phone, I put them on YouTube, I scheduled them to go out on Facebook for the next 6 Fridays at noon. So they were already put out there. I knew they were going to come. I would, link them back to the other ones. They were on YouTube. Then I was able to put them on my website. I was able to put them in a blog post. I repurposed that content, but on Facebook, I was just scheduling them out. So that was really handy. And it's nice when you can batch some of that content.
That's nice. That's very nice. I love it. That's awesome. Great tips in there.
All right. So when you're getting ready to do video and you're still a little bit nervous, another great thing is to grab a partner. We kind of alluded to that already, but if you're worried about being on video by yourself and you really, your biggest fear is getting over the camera and, you've practiced and you're just not comfortable, find somebody who is and have them interview you. Find somebody who is and that you can interview. Grab a family member, grab a prop or maybe your dog or your cat and have them in your lap. It's okay when you do those things. It's getting started. So whatever it is that helps you get started. And then, another really good tip is be authentic. Of course, be yourself, be who you are, be a little nerdy or quirky or, whatever it is that you are. People are going to connect with you more when you're real. So whether that means that, you have a prop because in your office you have a collection of, like me, 20 pair of orange glasses, and have used those as a prop or, you have an office dog that lays at your feet and, you can start off with, giving the dog a treat and it's sit next to you and just start the conversation that way. So be authentic and use props if you need to. Don't forget that if you go live on video on Facebook, that people cannot necessarily hear you when you're in the news feed. So you have to get them to tap, if they're on their phone and watching in order to hear the sound. So you want to be interesting and you want to show some interesting things. So if you're sitting there and you're not really smiling and you're talking, but you want people to come in, you've got to do something. I'm not suggesting that you go do a little dance or do a little jig, which you could, but a little wave or, hold up a sign or hold up a book or show your business card or, a prop would be good, but smile. Right. If you're listening and you've never been a phone operator or had any kind of training in how to answer a phone, the first thing people are going to tell you when you put a smile on your face, you sound different. Right. So before you turn the camera on, smile, and that way you're going to sound happy. And even if that smile is fake when you push the button, when you start smiling, your sound is different.
It's so true. It definitely is true.
And so that's just a confidence booster for yourself. Smile on that video. And people that see your videos come by in the news feed, if you're smiling and you're waving and you're holding up a sign or you're, cheering them with coffee and, you're moving around a little bit and your hands are waving, people are going to want to come see what you're up to.
So you're talking about as they're scrolling through their feed, that first second or two, do some sort of movement that just catches their eye and stops them for a moment to say, oh, wait, I know her, or that looks interesting, or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting. So you talked a little bit about the different types. So you could do the testimonial type, you could do the tip type, the 5 tips or a series of tips. Are there other types of topics that we could get our brains thinking on, and somebody's going to do their 30 practice shots?
Yeah, you can do and this is not necessarily that you would be in the video, but you can share a PowerPoint through a screen share, like a webinar type of thing. You can do a topic of the day, a vlog, where you go, this is what's going on in my business today, and kind of share. You can do an educational series, what is an interior designer, who needs an interior designer, what kind of businesses work with interior designers. You can do something about, the topic would be, locally, if you're in a certain geographic area and you're limited to that area, you can say, hey, do Friday information about what's going on the weekend. It doesn't always have to stay within that industry. It's okay if it goes out a little bit and people see your personality a little bit. So say you're like me, I'm a marathon runner. I don't always run marathons. I run halves and I run, just train. Sometimes I don't run races. But if I were to go volunteer at a marathon instead of run, that would be a great time for me to do a Facebook Live, get up in the morning, I'm getting ready, I'm going to volunteer at the race. And it's okay to, integrate some of those real life experience, even in on a business page or on your personal profile, and share a little bit behind the scenes. People want to know what's going on behind the scenes. It could be that you're on your way to a meeting. Don't ever go Facebook Live when you're moving and driving a vehicle, please. Very dangerous. People don't do that. But if you're in a parking lot and you can say, I'm sitting in the parking lot of the Panera Bread. I am super excited. I'm meeting a potential client, and I just want to share that with you. I just want to share that excitement. Can you see on my face? And that could be a Facebook Live. Okay. You would be surprised how many people would wish you good luck and then afterwards say, how did it go? You want to share the support and give some support, and those are all okay. If that's part of your personality, if you're more outgoing, I would suggest that would be a great thing to do. I've made videos where I drove to a networking meeting and I sat in the parking lot and I go, oh, I forgot business cards. And I made a video and said, here's tip, most important tips before you walk out the door next time you go to a networking meeting. You got to make sure you've got business cards. Here's a free tip for the day.
Right. So
use what's going on around you. Maybe there's a festival in town that would be appropriate for you to talk about, or maybe there's, something going on in your town. Maybe there's a famous visitor or a concert, or, there's always topics. If you want to have an ongoing list of topics that you can talk about, this is something that I've been using for at least 6 years. When somebody asks me a question about my business, about my industry, I write it down. I have a note on my phone, whether it comes in an email or over the phone, or somebody asks me when I'm networking. I enter that question on that note, and I have a running list. Every single question that I have becomes a piece of content that I could create to answer that question.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip right there. So for interior designers, when you're on a consult and, we all know that we get the same questions over and over again, but to start to catalog these questions and then sit and give it some thought, and this can become a series, and every day, a tip of the week, or whatever it might be. That's a good, I like that one, because it's really giving your target market exactly what they're wondering about your business. So I have a question in there, though.
Yes.
How do you suggest that someone straddle the fine line between the oversharing and having value to the audience? So if a designer is inspired by this, and they create a series of, like you said, it could be, 5 tips to hanging a mirror over the mantelpiece, or 5 tips to decorate a mantle, and And they go through and they really create some nice content, and however they do it, whether it's live or scheduled or whatever it is. And then you're going to sparse in there that on the go sort of thing. Do you feel like, if the content is the on-the-go stuff. Like, to me, I feel like if the content is only the on-the-go, if I'm just telling you, hey, I'm going in to meet a client, I just had my lunch at Panera and I'm going in to meet a client and I'm so excited. Like, I feel like, well, what did I learn from that? But if you are the person that's every week teaching me how to decorate something, and now I see you're behind the scenes, that endears me to you. But don't you need to be giving, and I'm asking because I really just myself think, like, I don't care what you're doing unless I already like you.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree with that. And there is a fine line, and there are people who have, a plate in front of their head, and they'll never know where the fine line is. They overstep the boundaries. And what you do is unfollow them. You might not unfriend them, but you unfollow them or unlike their page. And yes, that becomes burdensome. But then there are other people that do it really beautifully, that build that connection, that have that community, that are givers, that give lots of tips and lots of great information, and ask questions and really are interested in their community. And then when they do that, and then when they go to the Panera Bread,
Right.
they get the support they want.
Yes.
But if you're only asking for the support and only, kind of drum your own chest and say, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm doing, you're not building a community. You're trying to be something that you're not yet. You're trying to act like you're the influencer, but you don't have the influence yet.
Okay.
So you really need to build that influence and be that person that gives first and foremost before you can go and just,
be cute.
Share your life. Yeah. And be cute. And that part should be strategized. Okay. And that's why a content calendar is kind of important, even with video, but also with other content you create, pictures you put out. There has to be a balance of, I'm going to upload 2 videos a week. I'm going to do 1 live show. I have these images. I might write a blog post or all these different things, but kind of fit it in and figure out where it goes. And just make sure you've got a good mix of things where you do a lot of giving and also sharing other people's stuff.
Right.
If it's only your own stuff that you're sharing and only your own videos and only, your own content, that's not always good either. I know the big brands don't share anybody's, say you're a big brand like M&M's. They're not going to share anybody's content, but they don't have to. They've become the big influencer.
Right.
But when you're a small brand, a small business owner, it's okay to share something from other local brands and highlight and lift up a local charity or, a local event. It's a good thing. It's a good kind of thing.
Right.
So when you can combine those, but yeah, there definitely is a fine line. And what I'm going to tell you, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, if you go look at your analytics and you're only promoting yourself on these Facebook Lives, people are not going to show up to these Facebook Lives, and you're going to have 2 or 3 people there. Nobody's going to comment, and people are not going to be there. But if you're constantly giving good content and you had great tips and you're funny and you have, people are going to look for you. Right. And they're going to come back next time. So analytics will tell you a lot about whether it was successful or not.
Okay. I love it. I think it's great because it's true. Once we know somebody, we like them and we respect their work and we respect the information they share, then I'm the first one that wants to know what's happening in their regular day. What are they doing? Is it a good day for them, a bad day for them? Are they enjoying something or not? But if that's all you're telling me about is that kind of stuff, then I'm like, I'm too busy for that.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay. I love it. So this has been really fabulous. And I think that the biggest takeaways from this are that video is coming. It is definitely coming. Yes. And you don't want to be left behind. It's sort of like if you're still walking around with a flip phone, it's like you're gone. You have to, yes. It's coming. So video is the new smartphone, and we have to really just embrace it. That's number 1. Number 2 is that it isn't about you. It's about your client. It's about your prospective client. Think about what you can give them, what you can share with them, how you can make their day better, how you can help make their home better, how you can make the process of decorating their home better, and forget about you. And then the other thing that you said was, in order to forget about you, practice the heck out of it with only you and your camera and really get the heebie-jeebies out, and then practice going live. Again, privately go live just so you have that pressure of the 3, 2, 1. And then, graduate to going live on its own. And then there is a place for scheduled content, to creating the thoughtful 5, 6, 10 process videos. Do them, change your hair, change your clothes, everything else, so it feels great, you look great, and feed it out to different places. Don't forget to utilize them on your website. Don't forget to utilize them in blog posts, right? You could put a blog post about the tip series, right? And send, so the whole thing is about decorating the mantle, and you did 30 seconds or 60 seconds on it, but then maybe you do a thoughtful, full on, however many words, 500, 800 word piece on it, and you can embed that little video right with that blog post on your website, right, Dorien?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that would be cool, right?
Repurposing. And then when you say something really smart, like get a quote out of there and make an image and put that quote on there.
Right.
And then you can put that back on Facebook with a link back to your blog post.
Love it.
Repurposing content is awesome. You just got to think about what you want to say, then create that content, and then repurpose it all different ways.
Right.
That's how it works.
It's another layer of the creativity of it, is once you create something, is to really sit down and think about all the different ways you can cross promote that single piece of information that you've created. So, and not to overlook any avenues and utilize it. And then, of course, be yourself, be real, do whatever you need to do to be yourself. If you really do have your dog every day in your studio, then your dog is probably going to be in that video.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. I love it. I think it's great. I just thank you so much for sharing all this with us. I think that your story about the zip lining and your story about the entering into your client's home, you don't have the fear there. Those two things were the biggest aha moments. And I feel like that those have never been said before on the show. So I really thank you. And Dorien, before you go, you have a book coming out on this, don't you, in this coming year in 2017?
It has to come out in 2017. Yes. It's called No Fear Video. It probably will have a tagline to go, or byline with that, but No Fear Video. Yes, the book, it's coming. It's half written. I'm working on it. It's summertime. I've got all my kids home. It's not an excuse, but it's definitely it's real life. So yes, it's I've been saying for 3 or 4 years I'm going to write a book, and I didn't know what I wanted to write about, and now I do, and I'm good at it. So
good for you.
I'm excited to get that book done, and yes.
That's great. And meanwhile, they go to your website at what address? So in case they want to access some of your resources and learn more about your services.
Sure. It's Morin Media, Morein Media, Morin Media. And if you want to connect with me anywhere on social media, I have that. Morin Media on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter, everywhere. I'm Morin Media.
Awesome.
So be easy. And you recognize me. I wear orange glasses in real life, so you'll see me. All
righty. Well, I bet you have a lot of people reaching out to connect with you. You have a lot of energy and a lot of good advice. So I'm sure by following you and going through I know I read several of your blog posts, and it's a lot of great content there. So thank you so much for being on the show, Dorien.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun. I love talking about this subject, as you can tell.
Yep. Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.